and send shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock.
Well, honestly, that really depends on the individual. If you want a basic, generic definition, it is an offshoot of the post punk genre or movement. The answer to that question is yes and no. As I said, offshoot of post punk. Now, punk itself can be seen as fashion and all these other things, but when it comes down to it, it is about music. That started out with music and grew into something more, and then along came goth, which started out with music. Goth is a more melancholy, softer version of that. So if you really want to know what the most important thing, at least for most people, the most important part of the Gothic subculture history would be the music. Because everything else comes later. Except maybe literature, depending on how old you want to go. His music is not goth. Other people who are associated with it, mistakenly associated with it, usually are not goth. Now, these people as individuals themselves can be part of the subculture, but their genre of music is not goth rock. Goth rock is its own individual subsect, subgenre, basically, of rock. Goth people themselves can listen to many different types of music, even outside of goth music, and that can include people like Marilyn Manson. A goth person can listen to Taylor Swift if they want to, but please understand that it is a specific type of music. Being heavy metal, being um, death metal, all these kinds of metal, all these kinds of rock. Okay, those are different subgenres of rock and metal. Goth is its own. It is its own sound. Playing loud music, having certain types of lyrics, wearing all black does not make one goth. It does not make a band goth. They can be gothic themselves, but their sound, their genre, the type of music they play are not. Another common one that's a little bit more mainstream sometimes would be bands like Evanescence. Evanescence is mainstream rock. They used to be my favorite band, actually, and I knew so many words to all their songs. One of my most favorite songs, My Immortal, is from them. I still love them as a band, but even though they may have gothic elements, their music is not goth. It is basically mainstream rock. People like Marilyn Manson, who I personally cannot give any opinion on because I really haven't listened to his music. I've heard a few songs, but not enough to really make a total opinion on him. It's basically more shock rock kind of stuff. Some of the bands that are attributed to the Gothic subculture, even though some of these people do not like the term goth, some of them, from what I know, hate it, they are still some of the most associated acts for inspiring, I guess you would say, the subculture. They would be bands like The Cure, Joy Division, Bauhaus, and Susie and the Banshees. Now, there are many, many others, and while goth rock is looked more towards those older bands, of course, some of these people are still making music here and there, and of course, there are still newer bands coming out that have different types of gothic sounds to them. One of them being from a YouTuber that I watch. Her band is called Esoteric, and her name is Alison Eckfeld. Hopefully, I pronounced that right. And I believe right now her YouTube name might be the Goblin Queen. It used to be Castle of Bats, and they are basically an independent band, I guess you would say, and they make really good music, at least in my opinion. And she has like really, really good fashion sense and a great channel, so I definitely recommend you checking that out before I totally get off subject here. But yes, it is a certain type of music. It is, just, it is that. Yes, really. Being part of a subculture does not mean you are imprisoned solely into that subculture. As long as you remember the history and the music and everything that goes with it, even if you don't quite like it, as long as you respect those facts that is where it came from, you can pretty much listen to whatever the hell you want to. And really, who says that just because you are a part of one thing, you cannot be a part of another? Just because you like one thing does not mean you can't like another. Like, I don't know, if you like football, are you not allowed to like baseball? If you like comedy, are you not allowed to like horror? No, you're allowed to like more than one thing. You're allowed to be more than one thing. Now, I by no means am an expert on any of this. I am still fairly new in many ways to the subculture. So, what I say may not hold any weight for people. It may not mean anything to people. But I feel goth in my own way. And to be honest, my favorite music artist is Dido, which is about as far away from goth as you can get. One of my current favorite bands is Florence and the Machine. A little bit more darker, but still not goth. So there you go. As long as you respect the history of the music and everything, and at least listen to it and see what it's about, um, you know, all that good stuff, you're pretty much allowed to listen to whatever you want, and that does not take away your goth points. For many, goth is about appreciating the darker things in life, understanding them, not judging, being an individual. It's, of course, music, it's film, it's art, it's literature, it's, recognizing the things we keep hidden and deep inside of us. It is expression and passion and all this other kind of stuff. It is not anything to be feared. It is just, in my view, an appreciation of all aspects of human nature. And that is a good reason why I personally love it. Me personally, no. Personally, I cannot stand gore at all. Saw was about as far as I will go. Now, me, I do enjoy, my horror movies and everything. Of course, there's Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street, which are basically your classics there. A little bit of stuff going on, but nothing to that level. There's of course a lot of good Japanese ones, which have been Americanized, such as The Ring, The Grudge. There was one, I don't think it was Japanese. I think it might have been Korean? I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Korean, and it was called Premonition. That one was really good, but it is in the native language, so you would have to, of course, read subtitles. There are a lot of American low budget ones, which range from really good to really cheesy, to average to really stupid. But me personally, I'm not a gore person. I can watch, the slasher films and everything, and the ghost stories. I just can't do gore. That is something, I want to puke up my entire stomach when I watch crap like that. I have the weakest stomach on earth. So, but on another side, just like music, just because you are goth and into spooky things does not mean you have to like just horror. Horror is not even like one of my favorite genres. Although, again, I do like the older movies, and I do like a lot of the low budget ones if they're done well. I am more about plot and stuff like that versus blood and guts. Uh, Personally, some of my favorite movies, period, would be movies like Lilo and Stitch, Juno, Year One, Zombieland, which, okay, can kind of get out there in some gross aspects. It is a zombie movie. I do love Ever After and Up and Monsters vs. Aliens, so there's a whole wide range of things to choose from. Again, that can vary, but you do have your authors that are basically staples within the subculture. Two of them being Edgar Allan Poe and Anne Rice. One from an earlier time, one more modern. Of course, you have your vampire stories, your ghost stories. If you want to go the children's route and a little less scary, you have things like Goosebumps or Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. You have your classic books, monsters such as Dracula and Frankenstein. But, like I said, anything, really. I personally loved Goosebumps as a child. I read so many of those books, and none of them are scary, really, but they are so entertaining, they are so fun. They are spooky in their own kid way, but not horror. Another series that I am a huge fan of, if you haven't noticed by watching this channel, is the Hunger Games trilogy. I also really enjoyed, even though I haven't finished it yet, Harry Potter. I love The Fault in Our Stars, which is basically, in a way, a teen romance. So, again, watch what you want, listen to what you want, read what you want, because goth is about expression, not imprisonment. Then don't. You don't have to wear one color all day, every day. Nope. Well, I can't say no one does. There are some people that do like to wear all black. Some people like to wear all pink. That's really just a preference. Gothic people, a lot of them tend to go for the darker colors as they are more into the darker things, but that is not a rule. There are many goths who wear pink, especially your cyber goths. They wear bright ass colors like yellows and pinks and and stuff like that. There are ones that are more into Victorian wear and will wear a lot of deep greens and purples and stuff. Sometimes people mix these with black. Some people go for the bold contrast of black and white and stuff like that. Wear whatever the hell you want. You don't have to be a specific style. There are many styles of goth, such as trad. There's trad, Victorian, cyber, industrial. Some of these things get kind of mixed sometimes, depending on who you are and who you ask, and yada yada yada. And just remember that you can be more than one of those things. You can feel cybergoth today and Victorian tomorrow, and trad goth next week. I keep saying it, and I will keep stressing it, because goth is an expression of individuality. So, as I've said throughout this video now, as long as you understand the history, or you're taking time to learn it, as long as you respect where things have come from and the history behind them, and at least, respect those and appreciate them, even if you don't totally care for them, all of them. Wear what you want, read what you want, listen to what you want, watch what you want. And that's pretty much it. And that is my little video on the basics, at least for me, of what goth is. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please comment below, like this video if you want, and I'd appreciate it if you watch my other videos and maybe give me a sub. I will see you guys next time. Until then, bye bye.